She texted, "My ex just bought a new house. He always knew how to treat a woman." I replied, "Guess I'll start learning." A year later, I bought one too, but the woman moving in with me was her best friend. When she found out who the house was for, she showed up at my door, crying. I'm Jack, 29, and I work in commercial real estate development. Not the flashy kind where you flip houses on TV and make it look easy, but the grinded-out kind where you spend years building relationships, analyzing market trends, closing deals that take months to finalize, and slowly climbing your way up the ladder. A year ago, I was dating Emma. We'd been together for 3 years, living in my 2-bedroom apartment downtown. She worked in marketing for a tech startup, made decent money, and we had what I genuinely thought was a solid, future-oriented relationship. We talked about marriage sometimes, kids eventually, maybe getting a dog first to test the waters. Turns out I was living in a completely different reality than she was. It ended over text. Not even a phone call. Not a face-to-face conversation. She sent me a message on a Tuesday afternoon while I was sitting in a meeting with potential investors. "I think we want different things. I need someone more established, someone who's already where I want to be. I'm moving out this weekend. I read it 3 times before it actually registered." I excused myself from the meeting, called her immediately, and it went straight to voicemail. I tried 4 more times. Nothing. I came home that Friday evening to half-empty closets, missing kitchen appliances, and a handwritten note on the counter that said, "Thank you for everything. I hope you find what you're looking for." Her key was sitting on top of it. 3 years, gone in 5 days. No real explanation, no closure. Just gone. The first month was brutal, I won't lie about that. I threw myself into work because it was the only thing that made sense. I went to the gym at 5 a.m., worked until 7 p.m., came home, ate whatever was in the fridge, and passed out. I didn't reach out to her. I didn't beg. I deleted her number, unfollowed her on every platform, and told our mutual friends I didn't want updates. I wasn't going to be that guy who stalks his ex online, refreshing her profile at 2 a.m., wondering what went wrong. 2 months after the breakup, I found out through a coworker that Emma had started dating someone new. His name was Marcus. He was older, early 40s, owned a consulting firm that did corporate restructuring or something equally vague and expensive sounding. He drove a Range Rover, wore custom suits, and had a weekend place in the mountains. Everything I wasn't. Everything she apparently wanted. I didn't react. I didn't reach out. I just absorbed it, accepted it, kept moving forward. But then, 6 months after the breakup, right when I thought I was finally past it, I got the text. "My ex just bought a new house. He always knew how to treat a woman." I was at a coffee shop when it came through. I stared at my phone for a full minute, my coffee getting cold in my hand. She'd kept my number. She'd sent this to me deliberately. It wasn't an accident, wasn't a drunk text, wasn't her venting to the wrong person. This was intentional. A message. A reminder that I wasn't enough. That Marcus was better. That she'd upgraded, and I should know it. I texted back, "Guess I'll start learning." She didn't respond. I didn't expect her to. But something fundamental shifted in me that day. I wasn't angry. I wasn't sad. I was just decided. I wasn't going to sit around feeling inadequate while my ex lived her best life with someone else. I'd been saving money for years, living below my means, investing smart, avoiding the lifestyle inflation that swallows most people in their late 20s. I had a plan. Now I just had motivation. I spent the next year working harder than I'd ever worked in my life. I closed a major mixed-use development deal in April that earned me a bonus bigger than my previous year's salary. I picked up freelance consulting on the side, advising smaller firms on property acquisitions. I cut out every unnecessary expense. No more eating out 5 times a week. No more buying things I didn't need. No more subscription services I forgot I had. Every dollar went into savings. By September, I had enough for a down payment on a house, not just any house. A 4-bedroom craftsman-style home in one of the best neighborhoods in the city. Original hardwood floors, completely renovated kitchen with marble countertops, 3 bathrooms, a backyard with a cedar deck, and mature trees. The kind of place Emma used to scroll past on Zillow during lazy Sunday mornings and sigh about, saying, "Someday." But here's the thing. I wasn't buying it to prove anything to Emma. I wasn't doing this out of spite or to win some imaginary competition. I was buying it because I wanted it, because I'd earned it, because I'd worked my ass off for it, and because 3 months earlier, I'd started seeing someone new. Her name was Sophie, and she was Emma's best friend. Let me be very clear about something. I didn't plan this. I didn't target her. I didn't slide into her DMs with some calculated revenge scheme. Sophie reached out to me first. It was late March, nearly 9 months after the breakup. I got a DM on Instagram from an account I almost didn't recognize because she'd changed her profile picture. "Hey, I know this is random and maybe awkward, but I wanted to check in on you. I heard about what happened with you and Emma. I heard about that text she sent you about Marcus's house. That was really messed up. I'm sorry she did that to you." I didn't respond immediately. I wasn't sure what her angle was. Were she and Emma still close? Was this some kind of test? But her message seemed genuine, so I wrote back. "Thanks. I appreciate that. I'm doing okay now. Took some time, but I'm good." We started talking. Just casual stuff at first. She'd send me funny memes about terrible clients. She was an elementary school teacher. I'd send her ridiculous real estate listings with descriptions like cozy for a 200-square-foot studio. We'd trade music recommendations, talk about books, share random observations about life. It was easy, comfortable, no pressure. Then in early April, she asked if I wanted to grab coffee. I said yes. We met at a place near her school, talked for 2 hours, and I realized something. I was attracted to her, not just physically, though she was beautiful in this understated, natural way that Emma never was, but mentally, emotionally. She was present. She listened. She asked real questions and cared about the answers. We started seeing each other more. Coffee turned into dinner. Dinner turned into long walks through the park. By May, we were officially dating. I asked her, "Is this weird? With Emma?" She said, "Emma made her choice. She doesn't get to dictate mine." Sophie was different from Emma in every way that mattered. She didn't care about status or appearances or keeping up with what her friends were doing. She drove a 10-year-old Honda Civic and was perfectly happy with it. She spent her weekends volunteering at a literacy program and hiking with her dog. She cared about whether you showed up when you said you would, whether you were honest when it mattered, whether you treated people, waiters, cashiers, strangers, with basic respect. I told her about the house in August, right after my offer was accepted. We were sitting on my couch watching a movie neither of us were paying attention to, and I just said it. "I'm buying a house. I close in October. I'd really like you to move in with me." She turned to look at me, genuinely surprised. "Are you sure? That's a really big step. We've only been together a few months." "I'm sure," I said. "I'm not interested in wasting time on something that isn't real. I want to build something with you, something solid." She smiled, kissed me, and said yes. We agreed to keep the house and our relationship quiet until after the move. Sophie hadn't told Emma we were dating yet. Things between them had been tense since my breakup with Emma. Apparently Emma had been upset that Sophie even stayed in touch with me at all, like I was some kind of shared ex that came with custody rules. Sophie was planning to tell her in person, on her own terms, after we were settled. But life doesn't always wait for the perfect moment. Update 1 I closed on the house October 6th. Sophie and I spent that entire weekend moving her stuff in, organizing closets, painting the guest room a soft gray, assembling furniture from boxes that seemed designed to test relationship stability. We ordered pizza, played music too loud, and laughed at how domestic it all felt. It was surreal in the best possible way. I kept walking through the empty rooms thinking, I own this. We built this together. This is mine. Monday morning, I went back to work feeling like I was floating. Everything was finally falling into place. Then, on Tuesday, October 9th, I got a call from an unknown number at 3:47 p.m. I almost sent it to voicemail, but something made me pick up. Jack? It was Emma. I recognized her voice instantly, even though I hadn't heard it in over a year. How did you get this number? I asked. I'd blocked her on everything months ago. I called your office, she said. Her voice was shaking. I told them it was an emergency. They transferred me. I closed my office door. What do you want, Emma? Is it true? The words came out strangled. Are you seeing Sophie? I didn't answer right away. I could hear her breathing on the other end, fast and uneven, on the edge of breaking down. Yeah, I said finally. I am. How long? Since April. She made a sound somewhere between a gasp and a sob. 6 months. You've been with her for 6 months and neither of you told me? It wasn't your business, I said. We're not together anymore. You made that very clear. And the house? Her voice cracked. You bought a house? You bought a house for her? I bought a house for myself, I corrected. Sophie's moving in with me because we're building a life together. This has nothing to do with you. Nothing to do with me? She was crying now, full-on crying. Jack, she's my best friend. She's been my best friend since college. How could you do this to me? How could she? I almost laughed. The audacity of it. How could I do this to you? Emma, you dumped me over text message. You gave me no explanation, no closure, nothing. Then you sent me a message 6 months later bragging about your new boyfriend's house, rubbing it in my face that I wasn't good enough for you. You made it very clear that I was inadequate. So I moved on. I worked hard. I bought my own house. I met someone who actually values me for who I am, not for what I can provide. What exactly did you expect would happen? I didn't expect you to sleep with my best friend. I didn't sleep with anyone while we were together, I said, keeping my voice calm, even though anger was rising in my chest. You left me. I grieved. I healed. I moved on. Sophie reached out to me as a friend first. What developed between us is real. It's not revenge. It's not some scheme. It's just two people who connected. That's how life works when you're not trying to control everyone around you. She was full-on sobbing now. I made a mistake, okay? Marcus and I broke up 2 weeks ago. He wasn't who I thought he was. He was controlling and condescending, and he made me feel like I was never smart enough or interesting enough. And now Sophie won't return any of my calls, and you... She choked on the words. You bought the exact house we always talked about. With her. I closed my eyes and leaned back in my chair. Part of me felt bad. A small part. The part that remembered loving her once. But the bigger part didn't. Emma, I'm sorry it didn't work out with Marcus. I genuinely am. But that's not my problem anymore. That's not my responsibility. You made your choice. You chose to leave. You chose to pursue something you thought was better. It didn't work out. That's unfortunate. But you don't get to come back into my life now and make demands or claim that I've wronged you somehow. I've moved on. You need to do the same. Can I see you? She asked, her voice desperate. Please, Jack. I just need to talk to you in person, just once, please. No, I said firmly. There's nothing left to say. We're done. We've been done. Take care of yourself, Emma. I hung up before she could respond. My hands were shaking. My heart was pounding. I sat there for 10 minutes just staring at my desk, processing. Sophie came into my office around 5:30. She was picking me up so we could go to Home Depot and pick out bathroom fixtures. She took one look at my face and said, What happened? Emma called, I said. She knows, about us, about the house, everything. Sophie's face went pale. How? I don't know. Someone told her. I should have told her myself, Sophie said quietly, sitting down in the chair across from my desk. I should have done it weeks ago. I was just scared. She's been my friend for so long, and I knew this would hurt her, and It wouldn't have mattered, I interrupted. She would have reacted the same way no matter how she found out. This isn't your fault. That night, around 9 p.m., Emma showed up at my door. Update 2: Sophie was in the shower when I heard the knock. 3 sharp raps that somehow sounded urgent. I looked through the peephole and saw Emma standing on my porch, arms wrapped around herself, mascara streaked down her face, hair pulled into a messy bun. She looked smaller than I remembered. I opened the door but didn't invite her in. Emma, you can't be here. I just need 5 minutes, she said. Her voice was hoarse, like she'd been crying for hours. Please, Jack. 5 minutes and I'll leave, I promise. I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. The October air was cool. She was wearing a thin sweater and shivering. Say what you need to say. She looked up at me, her eyes red and swollen. I was wrong. About everything. I thought I wanted someone established, someone who had everything figured out, someone who could give me the life I saw in magazines and on Instagram. But Marcus was awful, Jack. He talked down to me constantly. He criticized everything I did, how I dressed, how I talked, my job, my friends. He made me feel small and stupid. And I stayed because I thought that's what success looked like. I thought that's what I was supposed to want. I didn't say anything. I just let her talk. And then I found out about you and Sophie, and I saw pictures of this house on her Instagram story before she deleted it. And I realized... She wiped her eyes with her sleeve. You became everything I said I wanted. You did exactly what I accused you of not being able to do, and you did it without me. And now you're with Sophie, and you bought this beautiful house, and you're happy. And I'm completely alone. Emma, I know I don't deserve another chance, she said quickly. I know I hurt you. I know I handled everything in the worst possible way. But I still love you, Jack. I never stopped loving you. I just got confused about what I wanted. I took a deep breath and looked at her, really looked at her. I tried to find any remaining feeling, any spark of what we used to have. There was nothing. Emma, I don't love you anymore. I did, for a long time after you left. I missed you. I wondered what I could have done differently, but I don't feel that way now. I'm with someone who chose me, who didn't need me to prove my worth first or meet some checklist of requirements. Someone who sees me as a partner, not a project. And I'm happy. Really, genuinely happy. She was my best friend, Emma whispered, her voice breaking. And you were my girlfriend, I said. You don't get to decide who I move on with. Sophie didn't betray you. She waited almost a year after our breakup. She reached out to me as a friend first. What happened between us developed naturally. It's real. It's not revenge. It's not a rebound. It's a real relationship built on mutual respect and genuine connection. The door opened behind me. Sophie stepped out, her hair still damp from the shower, wearing one of my sweatshirts. She looked at Emma, then at me, reading the situation instantly. Emma's face twisted into something ugly, hurt and anger and jealousy all mixed together. Of course you're here, in his house, wearing his clothes, living the life that should have been mine. This is my home now, Sophie said quietly but firmly. I'm sorry you're hurt, Emma. I really am. You were my best friend for 10 years, and I hate that this is how things ended up. But I'm not sorry for being happy. I'm not sorry for falling for someone who treats me well. And I'm not going to apologize for your choices. Emma stared at both of us, her mouth opening and closing like she wanted to say something cutting, something that would wound us the way she was wounded. But nothing came out. Her face crumpled. She turned and walked back to her car, a car I didn't recognize, probably Marcus's that she'd been driving, and pulled away without looking back. Sophie and I stood on the porch in silence for a moment. Then she said, That was awful. Yeah, I agreed. But it's done. We haven't heard from Emma since that night. Final update. It's been 3 weeks since Emma showed up at our door. Sophie's fully settled into the house now. We've hosted a small housewarming party with a few close friends. My parents came by last weekend and absolutely loved the place. My mom spent an hour in the kitchen admiring the backsplash and talking about holiday dinners. My dad and I sat on the back deck, and he told me he was proud of me. That meant more than I expected it to. Life feels normal, good, stable, like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I heard through a mutual friend that Emma moved back in with her parents temporarily while she figures things out. She and Sophie haven't spoken. I don't know if they ever will. That's between them. It's not my responsibility to manage their friendship or Emma's feelings. Sophie asked me the other night while we were lying in bed if I felt guilty about any of it. I told her the truth. Sometimes a little. Not for moving on, not for being happy, not for buying this house or building this life, but for how much it clearly hurt Emma to see me become the person she claimed she wanted, with someone else. But guilt isn't the same as regret. I don't regret a single decision I've made this past year. I worked hard for this house. I worked hard to become the kind of man who doesn't crumble when someone tells him he's not enough. I learned what it means to build something real with someone who actually values partnership over performance. And I found someone who sees me for who I actually am, not for what I can provide or prove. Emma taught me what I didn't want in a relationship. Sophie taught me what I did. And honestly, that's worth more than any house could ever be. Edit 1. A few people have asked if Sophie feels guilty about how things went down with Emma. The honest answer is yes, sometimes. She's tried reaching out to Emma twice since that night, once through text, once through a mutual friend. Emma hasn't responded to either attempt. Sophie's hurt by it because that friendship meant a lot to her, but she's also made peace with the fact that some friendships don't survive honesty and life changes. Edit 2. For everyone saying I stole Emma's best friend, or that Sophie violated girl code, stop. I didn't steal anyone. Sophie is a grown woman who made her own choices based on her own feelings. Emma doesn't own her friendships. She doesn't own me. People aren't property. Relationships aren't territories you can claim and control. We all moved on with our lives. That's what adults do. Edit 3. Someone asked what happened to Marcus. I have no idea, and I don't care. That's Emma's story to tell, not mine.